on, man. I just got what you said. Send his ass back. God. Oh, we weren't live this whole time. Okay, good. They got to miss the funniest part of this. Jacob, have you guys learned your lesson? Have you guys had enough? Omi, have you had enough of the gulag? I had him out there, bro. I had to kick him out. I had him out there like fucking Jesse Pinkman in the fucking in the basement. You feel me?
Yeah, I do actually. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I've been getting Breaking Bad shorts recommended on my YouTube every time I'm trying to watch some news. It'll be like the fourth one is like Breaking Bad. I'm like, what is happening, bro? Is it just me? Does anybody else? Is anybody else dealing with this? The
No Breaking
algorithms.
Bad
Oh,
stuff. Nope.
I watched one reel. They're like, oh, you like that shit? And they just fucking flooded.
You built
flooded
that algorithm, sir. That's yours. You built that one brick by brick yourself.
But I looked at one post. I swear, Instagram's the worst, dude. You'll click on like one girl's photo, one girl, and it was a genuine photo. It was just, you know what I'm saying? Wow, I'm in Wall Street. I love Wall Street. I clicked it. Now it's just flooded. Oh, you like that shit? You feel me?
Yeah.
Full Explorer page. Christine, you got your hand raised for a while. I know you got arthritis in the shoulder now. What's going on?
Just when we get a chance, can we please go over yesterday's trade when the FOMC came out? Because one of the things I'm noticing with my trades, and I might be doing something wrong, is they keep going to the 1.172 or the 1.272 extension and then ricocheting off of there. So I just wanted to see how you would have, worked yesterday's trade and got into it.
So we're at support right here, right? That's the
Hmm.
88.6 on the higher time frame.
Yes,
Okay. Now, what model is this?
that is definitely a Model 2.
Okay, so you have the break up, and what's the direction of the first fake out?
It fakes up, then fakes down.
So then when it does this big massive drop, and we're on the live stream yesterday, and I got these guys being like, bro, why are you bullish? This thing's dropping and it's aggressive. What's my bias? My bias is it's gonna go up unless it closes under support. So I actually did take the 88.6 trade. I was in profits.
Me too.
I had a hard TP set, but then it ended up getting crushed. But then once you start to see the higher lows forming, and it's starting to break back above the low. All right, so this is the extension level here. So it did come very fucking close, very close. But then we had a closure back above. And so the strategy says closure back above, retest above the range, or maybe even through it, and then a higher low is forming. So we've established two candles here on the 5 minute. That's a higher low. And then even if that's not enough for me, then once you have the pump and then the retest again, and you establish another higher low, this should kind of let you know that more than likely it's going to go up versus go down because we're at a discounted price. And that's like this is why I keep stressing the whole discounted premium model is like most people want like a candle by candle explanation. Well, there was an engulfing candle that closed above the previous LOSC, and then so because of that, then the rebalance of there is none of that. If you got a 90% chance of the market ricocheting back up if you're at the bottom of a support. So let's take this for example, the duck, duck, goose. Duck, 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 and then goose. Now, just because these things happen does not negate this 88.6. So you can still trade at support, take the 88.6s, and still have your stop losses set. And then every once in a while, you might get crushed. Now that's fine because you can re-enter on the way back inside the range. Make sense? Unless you're a breakout trader and you think every time the market breaks support, it's going to go down. In which case, I don't know how long, I don't know how many more times we got to go back through the concepts, but you got to assume it'll come back in the range. That's called mean reversion. The markets have like an average mean, like the average kind of range that it's playing in. And sometimes it goes extreme and sometimes it goes extreme, but they always go back towards the mean. It always rebalances. I hope that last part wasn't complicated, but does that make sense, Christine?
Yes. So basically we would have got knocked out, but we could have got back in on the retest, basically.
Yep. And that's why we put in tester entries, right? Because if I knew it was going to hit the 88.6 and just like reject, or just go a little bit under it and reject, then I would just enter the full positions. But the market might reject the 88 and then get savage on us before it recovers. And I don't want to put all my ammo on this trade. And then when it recovers, I have no money to re-enter because that used to happen to me all the time. And so the tester entries, like you put in the tester and then it just starts melting. You're like, well, thank God I didn't put in the full order, right? Now, there's diff if you really, really want to like, that's the easy answer. That's the answer of like, you're gonna fucking lose one, you got to re-enter. Now, if you want to start counting the lows, we went through this in the class. Price will establish that first support when it creates the range. You can take this second test. That's duck, duck. Okay. Then there's going to be the 88.6 entry. So now you have buy one, buy two, and 88.6 buy three. And then the last time that it comes in, it's probably going to break. If it's already created support and support, the next one's going to be a break after the 88.6. And so if you want to count them individually and then you're like, I'm on the fourth, and so it's more likely for it to break, you can play that game too, but you better get to studying. Fair enough?
Yes.
Count the NASDAQ 2.0, baby. So this Saturday when we do education, I'll kind of cover that as well. Let's get into the actual trade. I guess Trump, like, I don't know what happened with the Trump deal. He was supposed to be speaking at 10 a.m. It's 10:30. Now, I'm literally the last human that can complain about punctuality, like by far, hands down. So I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. But I also value my time. So I'm like, yo, what the fuck? He said he had this. So if you guys don't know why we're here today, obviously we live trade, and this is another one of those. But Donald Trump tweeted on Truth. I'm gonna call it a tweet because truth.com, something about that just feels very dystopian. I don't like it. Jesus is the truth. All right. Big news conference tomorrow at 10 a.m. He tweeted this last night at 9 p.m. The Oval Office concerning a major trade deal with representatives of a big and highly respected country, the first of many. I gotta try to read this in like you can't even read this in Trump's voice. We got a very big news conference tomorrow, 10 a.m. Oval Office. We got a major trade deal, right? Why does he just start capitalizing major trade deal with a representative? It's big and highly respected. The biggest, most highly respected. Never seen anything like it. It still doesn't even sound like it's his voice. It sounds like somebody else wrote this. Is it China? Is it Russia? Have we reached a deal? People, if this is about China, then the markets are going to rally so fast that you will not have a chance to enter your buys today. I'm just going to tell you guys that much. It's going to boom so quickly. And you'll be like, oh, I'll just wait for the retest. No, there's no retest. It's going to be a one-way show. But it's not China. It's actually the UK, which is inconsequential in terms of global trade. So, okay, don't get, obviously, they have some exports and imports, but inconsequential if we're going to talk about China, for example. So is the market going to rally because we've created a good trade deal with the Great Britain? Maybe, actually, because it's the first step to us creating some sort of clarity about our trade relations with the EU. So if you guys don't know, the whole Brexit deal was England trying to decouple themselves from the European Union's horrible decisions and trying to avoid sinking with that ship. And the European Union has not been the best trade partner for us and hasn't been the best negotiating partner for us up until now. And so I think that the British deal will create the framework for how to navigate the European Union deal. Yeah, sounds about right. Okay. Let's see what we got here. So let's just take a look at this on the higher time frames. Let's establish lows and highs, lows and highs, lows and highs. Okay, this might be a little tough to see, but did we or did we not close above the previous high? We did not. Oh, maybe I should draw it correctly. Let's get accurate here. This is the previous high. Okay. And then I'm going to check whether we closed above or below, because this is actually pretty tricky here. This might be a beautiful, beautiful double top. Okay. So by definition, this was a lower high, indicating that we still haven't established, like buyers haven't taken full control yet. We have not established a new bullish range just yet. So here's typically what will happen. Like you have all of these engulfing candles, okay? And then you start to have this reaction where one candlestick, all right, engulfs the previous 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. And then the wick breaks above this whole area. So you have a closure above both local highs, or you have a break above both local highs. You have a closure above this area of local structure. So then what happens next is then you get a pullback back inside that range. Price establishes a higher low, and then we have a continuation. And so if we look at this with the same model, with the same sort of framework, for example, here's the previous two areas of local structure. The market has broken above both. Okay, now the market is retesting back inside of that range to establish a new support in order for the market to continue. So for Chart Addicts Masterclass members, what is this model called? If we have the entry models and then we have the blank models. What would this be considered? When the market breaks above your 88.6 and comes back to use it as support, what is that called? It's not a trick question. He said, now is a good time to insert ads. But I'm pretty sure I took off monetization on this. No ads. No ads. Large Up, Roy, been watching your channel since the pandemic. Alexa's 90s. Congratulations. You found yourself in the right place. They're gonna open up a time capsule one day and say, damn, maybe they did have flying cars back then. Maybe they were geniuses, right? And it's just gonna be a live recording of this stream. Aliens come down, they said, we want the best of what your society has to offer. You might as well just show them this stream. It's the best it's the best we're gonna be able to do. Roman says continuation model. Roman, you know what? That's 2 in a row, brother. You get a free coaching session with me as well. I'm sick and tired of talking to a fucking brick wall and nobody responding and shit. It's like the same 2 people like having sympathy and like responding from the back of the class. People, these streams ain't that fucking bad. If you want to see what shit is out there, go and watch some people's live streams out here. Not only are they not funny and have the charisma of a fucking potato, all right, but they also just lose all the time. How are you whack and a loser? You got to pick one. If you have no charisma and you're losing all the time, like if you have charisma and you lose a lot, I'll let it slide. At least I can come on here and laugh. Right? So a little bit of engagement goes a long way. Now, why did I show the continuation model? Because I'm just going to double fib this up. Reverse the fib. Here's the 88, right? I'm going to put in, the only times I'll use the 78 and the 70% levels is for the continuation models. Because as you'll notice here, these 2 levels seem to reject a lot more than the 61. I've been finding this out lately, just waiting for too many good trades. Okay, so what I'll do is like, okay, well, Roy, then which level should I be using? Let me try to make this as accurate as I can here. Double check the fib. Fibs are accurate. Boom. Reverse it back. Stretch this thing out. Pizza dough style. 71% rejection. Gorgeous. Now let's go ahead and verify that with the 88.6. Let's layer this. So here's the previous swing low. Here's the impulse. I want to see if we can get an 88 rejection down here. That's way too far. But we have a 61 rejection right here. So let me kind of put it to you guys like this. If we hold this support, then we're going to buy from this current price right now. This actually might be the best entry price as we speak. What time is it? It's 10:40, so we're already kind of 30 minutes removed from the market open. Let's actually see what happened today at market open too. Oh, pre-market consolidation, pre-market consolidation. Where's the market open? Ah, market open is right here. So from the time the market opened, we had a big drop, and we haven't had a correction back to the market highs. We haven't had a correction at all, actually. This is all part of the pre-market open. I'd like to see a pullback. Yeah, I'm liking this. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to see if we continue to hold this section here. This is our support. Matter of fact, I'm actually going to take a tester entry now. This is a little bit risky, guys. It's a little bit risky. If you want to wait for the next push to the upside, you can get one more retest, but I'm actually going to enter a tester. Go ahead and hit pause on the screen share. Head on over to trade Ovate. It's not, I'm already on trading trade Ovate. Bit of a tester entry here. Back above that area of support. We've already hit the continuation model levels. Okay, then we'll hop back on here. I'll put this on trading view too, just so we can track this together. But essentially the trade looks like this. Because you got to ask yourself, why not wait for the 88.6, right, from this low? And that's going to be my second option, is going to be waiting for that 88. But which one looks more likely is that the market comes back inside this range, all the way down to this low, and then rejects, or holds this area of support here. Like we've already got a model 2 where this was the model 1 entry right here. And then we broke under, closed back above support. And then now we're just basically gambling to see if the retest is going to close above support or not. Okay, I believe if the market comes down to this 88.6, it's probably going to keep dropping. Like we're going to get a rejection here. Obviously, I'll buy that as well. And then we're going to drop. So right now, I'm going to take a tester entry. And honestly, it's probably not even a tester entry. I put in I put in 3 contracts. I'll just be honest with you. And so you actually don't even need a stop loss that wide. What I'll do is I'll put my stop loss just below this previous wick. If we get a double bottom, trade's still valid. If it closes under this previous area of support or even fills these wicks, I'm out. I don't want to be in that trade. We have more downside to go. I don't need to hold the trade all the way to the extension levels in order to figure out it's not working. Okay, using a little bit of discretion here. So I guess Trump is just not going to speak. I guess we all just got played. Chat is disabled for the live stream. Yeah, at least, what is this, the BBC? Wall Street Journal? Oh, puss. They said starting soon, President Trump announces UK-US trade deal in the Oval Office. The UK. This is what he got me up and excited about. I thought it was China. We're going to sign a deal with Keir Starmer. How about you tell them to stop arresting people for having an opinion? And then we'll do a trade deal. How about you make the trade deal negotiable or what is it called? Conditional. How about we make the trade deal conditional on them establishing free speech again, not being commies? Might not be a bad idea. But another reason to have bullish bias is, do you guys think like announcing a trade deal after having weeks and weeks of uncertainty about the specifics of our partnerships? You guys think getting some clarity today about one of our like probably closest relationships in the world is going to be bullish or bearish for Naz? Take a wild guess here. Is today's clarity And obviously it's positive news, or else he wouldn't have gotten everybody in the world to be paying attention right now for this big announcement, right? You guys think it's going to be positive or negative for the Nasdaq? Like, is he going to get out here and be like, "We fixed it, we solved everything, and we're going to be making a lot of money together," and the Nasdaq's going to drop? What do you guys think? Some of you guys are still overthinking the like how this really works. Well, I just realized since we don't have ads on here, I can play music on YouTube. Now I'm lit. Now I'm lit. Oh,
Jaisu, make we the jet for the light to. Oh no, that's Waisu. And it's yet but no Maisu. Oh no, on the mission.
I'll let you guys know if I close out the tester, or I guess my real entries. I'll let you guys know. Obviously, I'm sitting in some drawdown, but as long as we create a double bottom or better, like either a higher low or a double bottom, the trade's still valid. The second area that we're looking for is the 88.6 from this low. So all I would have to do is just redraw my fibs if the market breaks. But I'm betting on this push back to the upside. I'm actually going to enter again. I'm heading over to trading or to trade evade. I'm going to enter again real quick. I just entered a second entry. Okay. And I'll do the same thing here on TradingView, just to kind of show you guys. Oh, it's too late. It rebounded. Okay, well, at least I got it on the real account. All right, Chart Addicts members say, I really don't even believe China and the US have spoken yet. They have. There's been backroom deals left and right, people, but like, I love that adults are back in charge. Like, people, you guys don't understand how annoying it was for me to see complete shit show. When you're in the middle of a negotiation with somebody, especially a nuclear superpower, you don't go around the media and like shit talk them and call them terrorists and like all this retarded shit that we've been seeing the past 4 years. We had children, idiots, people who graduated from like Yale and stuff, but have never actually been in the real world, a bunch of cucks, a bunch of fucking losers. A bunch of fucking pansies, like just a combination of all the worst traits of masculinity and just humanity in general. And like I say masculinity because the Democrats, the champions of women's rights, have barely one woman in the entire administration from top to bottom. So it was a bunch of like cucked dudes who didn't know shit about business doing deals before. And now we're actually negotiating in a real way, meaning don't get out there and spill the beans on the negotiations because then China's going to call and say, you guys did this. It fucks up the whole deal. We got to start from scratch. You can't go out there to the news and say, well, I fucked it up by coming out here and talking to y'all because I can't keep my mouth shut. And so what ends up happening is it just kind of looks like the deal is not working out. They'll be like, oh, we haven't reached a settlement with China yet. It's like, yeah, maybe because you called Xi Jinping a fucking dictator like 2 days ago and a tyrant, and you fucked up the whole deal. So so this idea that they haven't spoken yet and they're going to be in Switzerland this weekend on Saturday to have the initial negotiations to kind of set the non-negotiables. I love that. That's the official emissaries of both sides talking. But there's been back channels all the way through between the Treasury Secretary, the Trade Secretary, the foreign affairs ministers of both sides. And Xi Jinping has been very clear about communicating his priorities to the U.S. So long story short, there's backroom deals. We don't know about them because adults are back in charge and they don't just kiss and tell. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at. Okay. Now we had a closure below support, which I don't like. I don't like this at all. This candle right here, even though we have a beautiful double bottom rejection or like a higher low rejection, this candle needed to close back above. Whenever I talk to you guys about those 5 steps or 4 steps, price breaks under the support. Then price recovers back above. So we had the recovery back above. Beautiful. Then the market closes back above because this wick broke above but didn't close. These two candles closed above. Okay, so we've already had 2 out of the 5 checks. Okay, then we have a retest above the range. A retest above the range, but we did not have a closure above the range. So second one, lost. Did we have a higher low form? Yes. Did that higher low close above the range? No. So that's only 3 out of 5 conditions for the continuation. Had we had all 5, this thing is flying right now. We don't have all 5, typically warning sign. Okay? And so in order for me to jump out this trade, it's really, have we broken the low yet? Okay? If no, then hold. If yes, then close. So these binary choices is, again, going back to like the if-then scenario that I was talking to Jensen about. It's not about price will do blank, or like, you know what I'm saying? It's if price does blank, then I will respond accordingly. So it's all conditional. I want to enter 30 more contracts, but I know responsibility is key. I know I got to wait because the conditions aren't met. It's a risk. It's getting riskier by the moment, but maybe it's maybe Trump keeping people waiting, kind of getting the markets antsy. Or the markets just see all the buy entries just loaded up and they're going to sweep liquidity first. I don't know. Moment of truth.
Got about 70 points, Roy, to the downside before that initial 886 that we drew up this morning hits. I'm hoping that one's wrong and where you're at is correct.
I'm gonna tell you the same thing that I learned from Yoda. All right. Hope is not a strategy, my friend. So he said risk accordingly because it could be either one. So I'm risking about $400 on this trade. So $400, and then I'm looking to make about 700 or $800 on that bottom trade. And so regardless, if I lose this one, I'll take this one. It'll even itself out. If this one wins, then I'm done for the day. It's that easy. So I don't
Love
know
it.
if it's going to work. I don't know what's going to happen, and I really couldn't care less. This predictive
Yeah.
stuff is starting to get exhausting.
That was yesterday's trade. I had already made it, 1,200 in 3 accounts, and I was willing to take a stab at a higher 886. Ended up not being the right one, but my risk was set accordingly to still, if I lost, it was in profit. And the
Yep.
trade ended up being okay and popping off for even more. So got 3 passes yesterday. But even if I lost, it was beautiful because if I lost, I was still going to be, $900 in profit. So regardless, that's double win. It ended up being the big one we wanted. So
And that's real trading. Like people think real trading is being right all the time and predicting the markets and shit. It's like, no, real trading is no matter what the fuck happens, I'm walking away with this money. Denzel watching, I'm leaving here with something. And how you do
that's
that is
been, yeah.
on the downside is you reduce your risk after each additional loss. That way you're like, there's no amount of damage you can do if you cut your loss in half, right? You'll never hit your max trailing losses ever. If you cut your loss in half after, or you cut your risk in half after every loss. And now the same thing with the upside is you risk a percentage of your overall profits. So like, let's say
weeks.
you're up 1,000
With this
equity.
deal, the UK
Oh, Trump is
joins
talking,
United
and the trade is
States
pumping.
confirming that reciprocity
Let's go.
is an essential and vital principle
Pump.
of
All right, let's go.
international trade. The deal includes billions of dollars of increased market access.
Guys, I'm gonna close my original entry on Tradeovate. So I'm gonna let this play, but I'm gonna close my original entry, okay?
For American
And
exports,
just hold that bottom entry.
especially in agriculture, dramatically increasing access for American beef, ethanol, and virtually all of the products produced by our great farmers. And our Secretary, as you know, of Agriculture is here. Brooke, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
You'll let the farmers know. In addition, the UK will reduce or eliminate numerous non-tariff barriers that unfairly discriminated against American products. But this is now turning out, I think, really to be a great deal for both countries because it'll be really great for the UK also. So They're opening up the country. Their country is a little closed, and we appreciate that. They'll also be fast tracking American goods through their customs process, so our exports go to a very, very quick form of approval, and there won't be any red tape. Things are going to move very quickly both ways. The final details are being just about everything's been approved. So good for both countries, and we'll also receive new market access for American chemicals, machinery, and many other industrial products that weren't allowed. And they'll end up getting products that they'll be able to price, and if they like them better and we make great products, they'll be buying those products, but they were not available in the UK. Furthermore, in a historic step, the deal includes plans that will bring the United Kingdom into the economic security alignment with the United States. That's the first of its kind. So
Price is either coming back for one more test, or this thing is dropping down to that original 88.6 that we had drawn up, like Jensen said. So I guess this is the real moment of truth. This is why taking partial profits and moving stops to break even are two separate functions. All right, stops got hit on that trade. Good thing I closed that original entry and de-risked. So now I'm going to wait for that bottom entry. And that's it.
And we have a meeting, as you know, Scott will be going over to Switzerland on Saturday, and that'll be very, very interesting. We'll find out, but I think they want to make a deal very badly too. Both countries have agreed that the economic security is national security, and will be working together as allies to ensure that we have a strong industrial base, appropriate export controls, and protections for key technologies and industries like steel. Steel is a big factor. Both countries will become stronger with steel and things necessary for military. You know, we used to build ships and other things literally at a level that nobody's ever seen. And we haven't, we've eased up, and I would say that the UK certainly eased up, but now we're going to be uneasing both, and we work together. Once again, I want to thank Prime Minister Starmer. He's been terrific for his partnership in this matter, the special relationship and external bond. It's really an external and an internal bond between our two countries will soon be stronger than ever before. And we really do. We have a great relationship. I want to just say that the representatives of UK have been so professional. And it's been an honor doing business with all of them, and in particular, the Prime Minister. And I'd like to introduce him now to say a few words. Mr. Prime Minister, please take it away.
Thank you, Mr. President, Donald. And this is a really fantastic, historic day in which we can announce this deal between our two great countries. And I think it's a real tribute to the history that we have of working so closely together. Can I pay tribute, Donald?
1776.
Team
Sorry.
as well, particularly Howard
Guys,
and
I couldn't help
Jameson,
it.
who've done an incredible job, a very professional job, and my team as well. Two negotiating teams have worked at pace now for a number of weeks to bring in this deal today. Really important deal. This is going to boost trade between and across our countries. It's going to not only protect jobs, but create jobs, opening market access. And as you say, Donald, the timing couldn't be more apt, because not only was it 80 years ago today that victory came for Europe after and at the end of the Second World War, but of course on that day the UK and the US stood together as the closest of allies. And Donald, I think even down to the hour, because you may or may not know that it was about this time of day, exactly 80 years ago, that Winston Churchill announced victory in Europe.
You can always count on a Brit to bring up Winston Churchill. That's why Winston had to call us for help.
In the United Kingdom,
Winston.
literally people going out into the street, putting bunting up, going up to the palace. And so to be able to announce this great deal on the same day, 80 years forward, almost at the same hour, and as we were 80 years ago, with UK and the US standing side by side, I think is incredibly important and makes this truly historic. that close relationship has endured over those 80 years. As you know, Donald, when it comes to defence and security and intelligence sharing, of course, there are no two countries that are closer than our two countries. And now we take this into new and important territory by adding trade and the economy to the closeness of our relationship. It is built, as you say, on those notions of fairness and reciprocal arrangements. We've always had a fair and balanced arrangement between our countries. This builds on that, hugely important for sectors like car manufacturing and for steel and aluminium and so many others. And yes, we can finish ironing out some of the details, but there's a fantastic platform here, including, of course, on the tech side, where I think I'm right in saying we're the only two Western countries with trillion-dollar sectors when it comes to tech. And in the end, it comes down to, as you say, Donald, economic security is national security. On national security, we've been absolutely the closest of allies for so many years, keeping the peace through that close alliance, that friendship. And now we add to that.
And you can get sent to jail in the UK for a Facebook post.
I want to
Great allies.
for your leadership on that, Donald, and for the way in which your team have negotiated this. And I'm so pleased that we've got this deal, we've finalised it, and we've built an incredible platform for the future. So thank you so much, Donald. I'm now going to go and do a press conference. I think you have your press in with you, but on the details, I think if you've got Howard, we can deal with that through one of my team.
That's great. Well, Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much. It's an honor. We're going to have a continued, maybe a better relationship than ever before. You know, I don't know if the media knows, but the US and UK have been working for years to try and make a deal. And it never quite got there.
Yeah.
It did with this Prime Minister. So I want to just congratulate you.
Well, with this president, this prime minister, we've managed to achieve what many people have tried to achieve for many years.
Right.
And I'm really pleased, and it feels completely historic and on a special 80-year anniversary as well. So, Donald, thank you so much. It's really good to have got this deal over the line. Tribute to both teams, tribute to our countries, and tribute to your leadership.
Thank you. Well, it really is a great thing. And you go do your press conference, and I'll see you soon. Maybe speak to you later. But thank you very much. And an incredible thing. I can't tell you that for so many years, even as I sat, everybody talked and talked. It's not done, but now it was done with us. So I feel very proud to have been a part of it. Keir, thank you very much.
Damn, that might have been the best entry that we're going to get down here. But it's always worth waiting. If it breaks the rules and you got to chase it in order to get in the trade, it's not the right trade.
Why don't I do this? Why don't I have our Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, give a little description of the deal pretty quick? And then the good side, the very nice side, we'll be speaking about it also, maybe from so you get a pretty equal. I think it's a very it's just been a deal that was, we thought, very complicated. It became very simple. It's opening up the country.
Said there's more ums than statements from Starmer. Yeah, for sure. Sam, is that Sam Adkari? Sam, you can come back. Sam, you can come back. I feel bad. Todd, if you're watching this too, Todd, you can come back too.
Got it done. Really, it's going to be great for both countries. So, Howard, if you could go, and then somebody else, you may have, you'll pick whoever you want who'd like to do it. I have a feeling you're going to.
Like, does anyone think that this press conference is somehow bearish for tech stocks in America? It's all just a giant, like, you know what I'm saying, pat on the back circle jerk for trade deals getting signed. And that's somehow supposed to be negative for stocks. Let's be real here. The market will fly by the time the session is done. The question is, how much liquidity are they going to grab first before the market pumps? So we have our levels marked off. Hopefully we get one more push to this level here, to the 19,902 that I have marked off here on TradingView. Let's see Howard Lutnick, and let's hear what he has to say.
Ounce gold bullion, which is, so let's just call it balanced trade. So how do you open up a market in balanced trade? People think it's impossible. They've always thought it was impossible until President Trump came on the scene and changed the way things work. So here's what we've got. We've opened up new market access, ethanol, beef, machinery, all the agricultural products. They've agreed to open their markets, and that will add $5 billion of opportunity to American exporters. So the question is, why would they do that now? Because they've never done it before. And we still have our 10% tariff on, which will produce $6 billion of revenue for the United States. So the idea was, how did they keep their jobs, protect their economy, and do the best for their people while opening the market for us? And the way is they studied it. Their team was exceptional, and they tried to figure out the markets that they're importing from other people and try to send them over to America. So why were they always favoring others and not us? And what they've done is they've found the ways to do that so that we have new access, right? But the UK workers are protected, and that was the balance. So we did a deal with them in automobiles, and if you're not building here, we charge you a 25% tariff. But the president, and by the way, I want to make this clear, while Jameson and I worked hard, this was the president's deal. And people think, oh, that's not the way it works. If you got to sit next to him, I have the best deal maker to my left. And if you don't think that we take advantage of him calling the prime minister and getting that deal done, you don't understand who's the president of the United States. So he's the closer. He gets deals done that we could never get done because he understands business. He understands deals. And that's why we're here today. So he agreed they could send 100,000 cars into America and only pay a 10% tariff. And that protects their car industry. And remember, we do 16 million cars a year. So this is only like 0.6%. But for the UK auto people, this is tens of thousands of jobs that the president agreed that he would protect for them. So he made that deal, right? Then steel and aluminum, right? Their steel business has been destroyed like everybody else has been destroyed by people dumping steel into their markets. And British Steel had announced it was closing down. So the British government, as part of this deal, nationalized British Steel, and they're going to match.
He's hyping, but not like he's being dead serious. Everyone's got a closer at their office that when you got a deal on the line, you know that they're going to just close and you're going to get the commission. You'll send it to them. You'll have them on your meeting. Trump is the ultimate closer. You want to close that deal in the office, you call him first.
Aero and commercial planes, they sell Rolls-Royce engines to Boeing. We've agreed to let Rolls-Royce engines and those kind of plane parts to come over tariff-free. And what you're going to hear today is there's going to be an announcement in the UK that they are buying $10 billion worth of Boeing planes later today. But I'm going to let the name of the airline announce it because that's theirs to do it. Part of this deal was always to do it together and to do it strong. And you can see the numbers on this board. Everything about this board.
Look at the proud look on Trump's face.
For the United States of America, it lays out the plan that you can work with us.
All right, not now. But when he was looking at Howard, he was like, I definitely got the right guy for the job.
Pharmaceuticals, if you have a supply chain that is secure and protected in national security. So we feel.
Yeah, I'm not really sure that we're going to get that double bottom entry. There might be, there is a argument to put in a tester entry now if this thing's going to launch, but that's just not the trade for me. I'm not going to sacrifice my R&R.
Of why Donald Trump produced Liberation Day. People don't understand. He gets things done in a matter of time. This would have taken Jameson and I 3 years, maybe. And instead, we got it done in 45 days, certainly, because we worked for Donald Trump. So Jameson, all this, maybe Jameson, you'd like to talk a little, and then we'll turn it over to the UK.
Sure, happy to do that.
I readjusted my fibs, not from body to wick, but to incorporate like the touches of the 61 over here for the support and support over here. The 38 is lined up all the way through. And so I just readjusted the fibs and it looks like the 88 already touched. So another like double bottom there might be a pretty good entry, but for now I'm on the sidelines still.
As well, in terms of negotiating, I mean, the UK negotiators, we've got one right here, did an incredible job, right? This is why you win wars, right? When you act like this, and the ambassador, he knows more about trade than a lot of us here based on his background. And I would say on this deal, Mr. President, what we've shown is that it is time to change the way we do trade. People said we couldn't do a global tariff. We did a global tariff. They said no one.
Triadex members, is anybody already in? I know some of you guys probably sneak entered while we were talking, but anyone already in that trade or no?
With the sixth largest economy, we've agreed to have fair and reciprocal trade, and we've done it in record time.
Thank you very much,
Sir.
Great job.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Master. Well, Mr. President, thank you very much indeed in hosting us this morning. And thank you very much indeed also for that very typical 11th hour intervention by you with your phone call to the president, demanding even more out of this deal than any of us expected. So thank you for that. I'm just delighted, obviously, to take that call later tonight.
A little British humor.
You took it to another level, and I think the point I would make is twofold. One is that if we're going to rebalance and rebuild international trade in a way that serves all our interests, then we're better doing that together than separately and apart, and that's what we're on a mission to do. But secondly, you've done what you said you would do. You said to the Prime Minister when he came and we visited in the Oval that you would do a good trade deal with the United Kingdom, that you would do it at pace, and that we would be first. And you have delivered that. You know, you've been true to your word. So thank you very much indeed for that. For us, it's not the end.
This guy looks like he would be casted in Austin Powers. Is it just me?
I mean, there is yet more we can do.
It's like a caricature of a British trade official.
Is to open up our markets to each other even more than we're agreeing to do today. But it also provides us with the platform, the springboard to do what I think will be even more valuable for both our countries in the future, and that's creating a technology partnership between the United States and the United Kingdom so that we can harness science and technology in order to create future industries and future jobs, and to do that together in the way we work so closely already in the national security and defense area. We can just take that to yet further areas of science, enterprise and endeavor. So we're looking forward to doing that in the coming months. You've launched us extremely well today. It just, in my view, as the Prime Minister has said, just shows what two countries who trust each other, who are confident in each other and are familiar with each other can do, not just for ourselves, but for the rest of the world who need to benefit from a bigger and better international trading system. Thank you very much. It was beautifully stated. What a beautiful accent. I'd like to have that accent. Thank you. My mother would be proud. Thank you very much. Any questions?
James Matlish, Sky News.
Yes.
Can I ask, why Britain, why now? And you describe this.
Watching this trade leave the station, it hurts, especially coming right back up to entry.
Beginning, clearly, there's much more still to do. With respect, are you overstating the reach and significance of this deal? Because you're a president who needs a result at a difficult time.
I think that it's a great deal for both parties. It's for us. We're opened up. I didn't know how closed it was, quite closed, the market, as you know, the UK, and it opens up a tremendous market for us, and it works out very well, and a lot of assets. You see the chart, and those are tremendous assets. But we've been trying, and when you say why us, meaning your country, we've been trying for years, and they've been trying for years to make a deal, including when I was in the, first term. It would always be people talking, but they weren't getting it done. But for 25 years before that, they were trying always to make a deal, a very significant deal. I actually, until I looked at the numbers, I didn't realize this is a very conclusive deal, but we think we can grow it even from that. But this is a maxed out deal, not like you said it. You said it really incorrectly. This is a maxed out deal that we're going to make bigger, and we make it bigger through growth. But we have tremendous assets involved. I was surprised to see how big your country is in trade, actually. You know, one of the biggest in technology and so many other things. It's agriculture. I really didn't know. It's depending on your definition, it's from 4 to 5 to 6. That's pretty big in the world. So I was very impressed by that. But we're going to take it to new levels. It's a very big deal right now, but I think it is going to grow just of its own volition. It's going to grow, and over time there'll be changes made. There'll be adjustments made because we're flexible. We'll see things that we can do even better
on its own volition. Guys, sometimes I'm convinced Trump is actually way smarter than he lets off. Some people will be like, "Oh, he learned a new word. Look, he just threw volition out there." I think that's the natural way that he wants to talk sometimes, but he's like, "Oh, fuck, I can't start sounding too smart." Because he'll use some words sometimes. I'm like, brother, what the fuck? He used it correctly.
It's just something
I was like, that's a
came together
on its own volition is
so
a pretty
nice
he's high up
because
there.
we have many countries want to make a deal, and many countries are very unhappy that we happen to choose this one, to be honest with you. But long time, our oldest ally, or just about. I guess a couple of people claim that too, but let's put it right at the top. I think it's going to be something very special for UK and special for the United States.
I mean, maybe the French were an ally before, you know what I'm saying? If we're really going to be, I don't know if they were our first ally. They might have been our first opposition.
As soon as this is finished, your press conference, he's got numerous, and Scott, who's right.
Yeah, I think we missed the entry. What would happen from here is that the market would break back above our original support, that original entry, and then wick down through it to retest 50% of this candle and then launch. So if there is a re-entry, it'll be like 50% of this candle retest right here. So the market would have to close above this area of structure and then come back in for that 50% retest. And then that's when we can get the rest of the move. That risk and reward wouldn't be attractive enough for me personally. So I might just have to watch this thing leave. I'll just take out the white handkerchief and just cry as I watch it leave on the boat. Just leave to war.
Deals. And in this case, it's great because we really weren't very much involved. You have the European Union, which is, I think you made the right decision years ago. I don't know if you remember, I was opening up Turnberry the day that you were voting. And they asked me, would it happen or would it not happen? I said, no, I think they're going to go their own separate way. I think it's better for them. And they did. I think it's going to end up being a very smart decision. But a big part of that decision was always that you'd be able to make a deal with the United States. And they were unable to do that. But now they made it. And it's a tremendous, it's very important. That was always a big part of your decision on Brexit. And they were never able to make that deal. It was a tough one. And this one it's amazing with time. This one just went very smoothly, went quickly and smoothly. And a lot of common sense, as I like to say. It's tremendous common sense, but it's going to make your country much bigger in terms of trade. And it's going to make our country much bigger in terms of trade too. Yes, sir. Go ahead, behind you. And then we'll get you. You're with who? Oh, good. Very nice. They treat me beautifully.
I can't hear shit. Subtitles and captions unavailable. Oh my.
Well, I think they'll take what they want. We have plenty of it. We have every type. We have every classification you can have. As you know, Bobby Kennedy is doing a tremendous job, and he's, I think, probably heading toward your system with no chemical, no this, no that. I think we're heading that way. It seems to be. And but we have that also. So we're a very big country. We have a lot of beef. We're a very big country, so it'll be great. Yes, yes.
You want me to jump?
Yes.
Let's talk about American beef really quickly, and it can't be understated. I'm Brooke Rollins, by the way, how important this deal is and what this means to American farmers and ranchers. Specific to the beef, this is going to exponentially increase our beef export.
But why is she dressed like a Civil War lieutenant?
the safest, the best quality, and the crown jewel of American agriculture for the world. So I think a really important part of this deal isn't just
Bro, is it just me or she got the Stonewall Jackson drip? But she looks like damn son. She looks like about to walk down the catwalk at Bull Run. This is crazy.
sports. And I don't know if there's an industry that has been treated more unfairly and has suffered more than our agriculture industry. So we look forward to, I'll be in the UK on Monday, talking to my counterpart over there for next week, and look forward to moving that out across the country. The president is
I think
incredible.
we can say that we have the best in the world, best tractors, the best everything in the world. And they say that our agriculture is, second,
Nah, chat. 100% she was dressed like she's about to give the Gettysburg Address.
and they'll have more of it. And that usually means lower prices. How about we'll do you and then you?
A
Go ahead.
follow-up question for the client TV, Daniel Patangelo, LA7 to total media. So congratulations for the deal. We see a big revenues from the chart. But what's the rest of Europe? It's a victory day, but other European countries, it seems like.
Well, we intend to make a deal with Europe. We have found that the European Union treated us extremely unfairly, very difficult, and hurt themselves in doing so. And they very much want to make a deal. We'll be dealing with them. We are dealing with them currently. So that'll cover pretty much the rest of it. But this was separate because of Brexit in particular. This was a separate deal. And it always seems so natural. I mean, all the media would say that this seemed to be like, why did this happen 25 years? Why didn't it happen a long time ago? And it was always amazing to me. Somebody would say, hey, we got to make a deal. We have to make a deal. But this deal just fell into place. The prime minister did a fantastic job. His representatives are total professionals and they got along well. And
Siri, play Baby Come Back. You could blame it all. Just watching NASDAQ just run without us. Ouch. Made too many war references. I guess this is what I get.
Roy, she'll come back.
They always do.
Or we can get in there on the top.
No, I said it at the beginning of this stream. It's like once the price starts to pump, it ain't coming back. Because like this is just all good news. And so whatever manipulation is going to happen or whatever liquidity grab is going to happen, it's going to be for the purpose of, kicking out, I guess, the obvious trades, which I had entered. And I think this thing might actually just continue to fill all of these candles. And so by that time, it's going to be way too far, which is fine. Like every day is a different trade, but I have very little hope that this thing is going to come back for an entry. It's all good. I'm kind of blown. You guys didn't laugh hard enough at the Civil War jokes. Let's be honest. Like nobody. I made like an Emancipation Proclamation reference. I had a Gettysburg Address. So she was gonna look like she's walking down the catwalk at Bull Run. God damn it. Nobody.
I don't think they know what Bull Run is. Bull Run Park?
Bro, this is why
These jokes are too sophisticated, bro.
But this is middle school fucking history. All right? This is why America's fucked. People around the world, like, they study geography and all this shit in middle school. Like, but I swear, most people still can't find Ukraine on the map. We put in the cent, $300 billion, still can't find it. Gun to their head. Which one of these big blobs is Ukraine? I don't know. Right? That's sad. Fuck. But you're from Virginia.
And?
So you should know this.
Yeah.
The largest war in the Civil War, one of the largest battles.
Bro. They had me doing community service out there one time, man.
And you still missed the fucking point. Oh man. Devinny says, I don't know history. But they freed the slaves.
Or they made them free.
Gettysburg Address. Emancipation Proclamation.
They didn't free the slaves, they made the slaves free.
But they freed the slaves. Kind of. Like, obviously, if you know history, like, all right, shit took a little bit longer than just the Emancipation Proclamation. But that was the end of the Civil War, the most historic thing that happened. Revolutionary War, Civil War, Emancipation Proclamation. Then we go Industrial Revolution. Then we go World War I, World War II, Civil Rights, tech boom, and then Trump. That's American history in a nutshell. We'd have missed the whole fucking Civil War one. It's all good. All right. No more Ulysses S. Grant references. All right, fucking. We're good.
It was very much closed.
What a candle.
And now it's opened, and a lot of the financial.
T, are you doing that thing where you entered the trade but didn't tell nobody, and then now you're gonna
Yeah,
sit here
it's
and
exactly what happened.
And now he's
No,
gonna
bro,
rub
I
it
was
in my face?
watching that on the
He
one
said I
minute.
got
I
in
thought
at
y'all were all in 1 minute.
19,700.
That was
Where
a 1 minute retest on the 88. I fibbed it.
Omi, he said that on what? On the in the group chat?
In the private message.
Did he say it before or after he entered?
Oh, after, way after.
All right, bro.
100 points after.
T, you're about one comment away from back to the gulags. All right?
Bro,
Straight to
I'm claiming the 88. I always buy at the 88.
Bro, you know where they sent? Remember Jesse Pinkman? Remember the gulag? Right? That's where you're going. One more comment. You try to rub it in my face again.
You talking about Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad?
Bro, yes. Okay, hold on. I'll do it. You guys watch Batman? You know where the guy with the mask, he threw him in the hole and he had to like climb out with the thing? That's where I'm gonna send you, T. One more comment.
Says we Scott is doing certain countries and Howard's doing certain countries. I mean, I wish I had like 10 more of each. Then we could do them all.
All right, YouTube at least gets my fucking jokes, man.
The Cambodian rises.
There will be a time, we'll do a number of them. And then there'll be a time, I think I can say this, Scott and Howard, where we're just going to say, because we understand the countries, we understand what they want. Where
Being accurate is a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword for sure. Damn.
Big surpluses, let's say we had therefore deficits, that this particular country is going to pay a 25% tariff or a 30% or a 50% or 10% or whatever it may be. This was, I think we should explain it now. One of the things we did here that we'll rarely do is on cars, we took it from 25 to 10 on Rolls-Royce because Rolls-Royce is not going to be built here. I wouldn't even ask them to do that. You know, it's a very special car. And it's a very limited number too. It's not, you know, one of the monster car companies that makes millions of cars. They make a very small number of cars that are super luxury, and that includes Bentley and Jaguar. So we have some very special cars. So
moving, man.
in order to help that industry, and that's really, you know, handmade stuff, and they've been doing it for a long time. And
yeah, Omi, when I say it's not coming back, but trust me, I mean it. Like I'm telling you guys, I can be wrong. Actually, I don't think I'm wrong. I'm early. That's it. I'm never wrong. I'm just early. But bless you.
Did I just enter a buy?
Yo, stop. Yo,
oops.
No one used
yes, Omi.
Knowing you, probably.
I might have followed that wave as well.
All right, everybody in the chat say Omi buys tops. And if you're on YouTube, say T buys tops.
Oh, we're buying these tops.
Brother, you said it and not me. All right, I was making Civil War references. That's how I knew it wasn't coming back, people. That's how you know I wasn't fucking coming back. I made a Jefferson. Yo, you know you can mute. You know I found out a way to mute the alerts on trading or on trade. That's why y'all don't hear me when I'm entering, loading up some trades sometimes. But you never know.
Just keep buying one lot.
Past administration, and we're talking about over, you know, essentially 2 months because we could say 3, but it took a little while to get the office in perfect shape, right?
If you enter right now, let's see the risk and reward, right? Yeah, 0.36, baby. Yes, sir. That's what dreams are made of, baby. Yeah, that was sarcasm. That's a horrible trade.
So it's amazing what's happening. We're getting calls from, and that has to do with chips, has to do with cars. We used to make chips, Intel, and we used to make chips. We had a monopoly on chips.
Bro, NASDAQ is a bully. All right. I'm just saying NASDAQ is breaking my heart.
We're doing, they allowed that to be stolen from us. Most of it moved to Taiwan. And you probably were in the same position, right? Because you had a lot of the chip making capacity, but they moved it in. And if we would have said, that's fine. If you want to move it to Taiwan, that's good. But if you want to sell back into the United States, we're going to put a 50% or 100% tariff on. They would have never left. But we had people sitting here that didn't understand that. And it's too bad. But now they're coming back because I'm saying it I'm saying it about 40 years too late. But they're coming back. As you know, we have the biggest chip makers in the world spending, in one case, 300 billion, in one case, 500 billion, same as Apple. And in another case, 200 billion. And we're going to have a large share, very, very substantial share of the chip making market.
Did you guys know that Trump's grandfather was the longest serving tenured professor at MIT for physics? Or it wasn't physics. It was like something about like neurophysics or some shit that's insane. Like rocket scientist, basically. The longest serving rocket scientist at the #1 research institute in the world, MIT. Everybody thinks that Trump's retarded. It's like, brother, he comes from fucking geniuses. It had to have rubbed off somewhere.
Look,
Bet,
they have
bet y'all didn't know that.
essentially, they made $1 trillion a year.
For two.
They have
T, they're roasting the shit out of you on YouTube. They said tops are bought by T. Make the shirt.
business, and we want them to have business. We want them to do well.
Might slip another one in there.
I think
Might slip another one in there.
Yeah, T, that 0.26 R&R, baby. Risk $10,000 to make 260. Sounds like a great bet. Everybody should be in shock and awe. You're risking $100 to make $2.06.
Stop and profit. We going.
Nah, buy more. It's like no.
a trillion one. I think it was 1.1 trillion. And frankly, if we didn't do business, we would have been better off. Okay, you understand that. So when you say
T, chat, didn't I tell T that he has one more gloating in my face comment before he's in the gulags? Did I say that? I did say that, didn't I? T, do you hear that? Do you hear that faint music coming in? That music that comes in right before you get removed and forcefully put in the gulag?
Thank you for the trade.
Guy, I'm really not. I think that
he's gone.
Trade a greater friendship with China can be something good. But
all right,
you know, one of the things that
Omi, if he's complaining in our text chat, you can add him back in, but it's gotta be right.
Because
he better make a good fucking point to come back in.
Country, that's a really close country, and I think it would be great if it was opened up, give people a lot of choice, and would create a lot of jobs, a lot of everything. So I think it would be a great thing for China, and that's going to be one of the things we'll be discussing, like we discussed with UK. Yeah, please.
So what does Britain have to do for you to drop the baseline 10%?
If we come back to retest support, I'll enter that buy actually. That's a trade I'm willing to take, because then I can put my entry at support and I can put my stops just below this low, and we can kind of make the R&R work out as opposed to keeping the stop loss where it is now.
No.
Is it going to stay at every day?
No, that's a low number. They made a good deal. Some will be much higher because they have massive trade surpluses, and you know, in many cases they didn't treat us right. One thing with UK, they had it, you know, somewhat closed, not like a China as an example, but they always treated us with great respect. So they treated us with great respect. The template of 10 is probably the lowest end, and therefore they, you know, made that deal. But they, you know, we've had just a very special relationship with them. Like, I won't do that deal with cars. I mean, unless somebody shows me that there's another kind of a car that's comparable to a Rolls Royce, and there aren't too many. This is a good commercial for Rolls Royce. But I got to order a lot of cars.
Mr. President, I wonder whether you'd like to buy.
Oh.
I mean,
well, the last time this happened,
I would be happy to suggest a discount, obviously a very modest discount.
So the joke is that he did the same thing with Elon, and then he ended up buying a Tesla from Elon, and the stock just boomed and everything boomed. And so he's trying to broker that same deal now.
I've had many of them, actually. You know, the last time that happened, I ended up buying a Tesla, you know.
He beat me to it.
About the UK deal today. I heard there was talk that part of the agreement would depend on whether the UK would respect free speech and freedom of religion. I know the VP is really interested in that, talked about that earlier this year. Was there any assurances that you guys got on that front?
You want to handle that?
Yeah, that was not part of the conversation. Our conversation was an economic conversation from start to finish, closed by the president yesterday. This was a business deal, open their markets and also protect their workers, grow our markets and help our
This
workers.
was about business religion. You know, business is sort of a semi-religion, but not nearly as important. I don't want to get myself. Go ahead, please, in the back. Go ahead.
On that, to help you close, the gap between Ukraine and Russia?
I think so, yeah. I think it's a natural thing to ask.
What do you expect?
Sure. I don't know. I think we're making good progress. Fighting is a little bit different than it was. I think if we weren't involved, Russia would be, going at it to maybe get the whole thing. And without our involvement, they'd be able to get it. Because we supplied a lot of different things foolishly, but we've been sort of paid back by doing the rare earth deal that I talked about before. I think that, I think that we will be very much involved in trying to get that bloodbath. It's a bloodbath. It's a horrible situation. 5,000, it's really more than that. But it's 5,000 soldiers on average a week, mostly soldiers, are being killed. Young, beautiful people. I mean, they're being killed. I see the satellite pictures coming back, body parts lying all over fields, heads and arms. It's so terrible. I've never seen anything like it, actually. And if we can get that stopped, that will be a great accomplishment. And we're trying very hard. And I think we're close. And Mr. Witkoff is talking constantly back and forth. He's a real professional who's got a great relationship with both countries. And I think we have a good chance. And likewise, we're trying to work on Iran to get that solved without having to get into any bombing, as we say, big bombing. I don't want to do that. I want them to work a deal. I want them to be very successful.
President, everyone's from Fox Business.
Yes.
On the non-market barriers, how did you get the UK to bend? And what was the 11th hour deal or ask?
Well, I think it was really just a part of the overall. I mean, they have so many things that are so good for them. It's going to be so good for the country. And that was sort of easy. It wasn't, we had non-market, I call it non-market or non-monetary trade barriers. And we had quite a few of them, not nearly as bad as some countries. Some countries have, they have virtually no tariff, but the rest of it is so brutal, you can't do business with them, right? So it's a very important question, actually. No, I think the overall deal just worked out very well from their standpoint. They were willing to give that in order to get other things. And you might want to speak to that, Mr. Ambassador.
Look, the point about the deal is that we will continue reducing tariffs and non-tariff barriers. This is a continuing picture. It's a movie. It's not a still picture here. It's a movie. It continues. And we're both committed to freeing up trade between our countries. We're both committed to freeing up investment between our countries. And the point about this deal is that it provides a very good template and a very good launch pad for what we can continue to do and build on in the future. And that's what we're both determined to do.
Many of the, well, we're gonna say.
That's between us.
Many of the, we'll keep it confidential. Yeah, how about just one more little thing, right? They got the deal closed and it was handled very well from the other side too. But many of these things that we're talking about, we've been talking about this for 25 years. It's hard to explain when, if you weren't sitting behind this beautiful Resolute desk, you just wouldn't get it. I have been hearing about making a deal with UK for 25 years. And especially around the time of Brexit, they wanted to make a deal. So they came out of Brexit and they make a deal and how natural. And it just couldn't be done. It couldn't be done. Good people. And this is a bigger deal. This is a much bigger, better, stronger deal for both of us than we ever even contemplated before. It's a big deal.
Virtually everyone said that it would end in failure, it would end in tears, and it's ended in exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
But Mr. President, can I say that that is due to Secretary Lutnick and Ambassador Greer have been absolutely fantastic. But yesterday I received a call, a very diplomatic call that just edged things over the line, and that was from your new ambassador. in the United Kingdom.
Who is terrific.
Warren Stevens, he's here.
Where is Warren?
Right here.
Hello, Warren.
He's flying to London tomorrow night. He's going to be very popular with the British people. He's going to be a very successful ambassador.
And he's got plenty of cash. That guy's plenty of cash.
Are you guys
We need some more peace.
Yeah, go ahead. You're gonna go ahead fast.
Yeah, are you planning to meet Ursula von der Leyen, the
Oh.
president, or the European Council anytime soon?
Oh, she's so fantastic, right? She's so fantastic. I hope we're gonna meet. Yeah, the answer is yes. I saw her a few days ago. And I think that we'll definitely meet, yeah. The European Union is a big thing. They want to make a deal very badly. You know, everybody wants to make a deal. Look, everybody wants to make a deal with the United States, and we're doing that, and we're gonna make fair deals. I'm just honored that this was the first one. Go ahead, please.
The Federal Reserve Chairman, Mr. President, says that you would have to call him for a meeting. You plan to meet on with.
I could call him for a meeting, but it's like talking to a wall. He should.
Yo, son.
What?
Shots fired.
China cut. Everybody's cutting but him. It's you know, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's a shame. I call him Too Late, you know, Too Late Powell. That's his nickname, and it's a shame. It's ridiculous.
Yeesh.
So meeting, he's always too late. But in this case, it's not going to matter that much because our country is so strong. We're so powerful in terms of economic strength and what we've done. And I'll tell you what, if we didn't have our first term, you wouldn't be. We created things in the first term. We president in history. We cut the taxes more than anybody in history. And a very big factor is going to be the tax bill that we have right now, the one big beautiful bill, as we call it, which is all encompassing, the biggest tax cuts ever in history.
It's a $2 trillion spending bill. It's dumb as fuck.
For the UK.
And we're gonna talk about like the 1,000 things in it that they're trying to like sneak in there that nobody agrees with.
Regulation cuts. That bill is, I believe it's the biggest bill of its kind ever in the history of this country.
Yeah, $2 trillion. That's why Massey voted against it.
Soon, I've done an incredible job. I mean, I'll let you know, we have to get a vote, but we have a lot of support for that bill. And if that happens on top of all of these trade deals that we're doing, this country will hit a point that you better go out and buy stock now. Let me tell you, this country will.
Oh my
will be
God.
like a rocket ship that goes straight up.
Rocket ship that goes straight up. You better buy stocks now. People, we ain't getting a fucking retest.
Of this, you know, if we get that, if you don't, and the Democrats are fighting it only because they want to fight. They have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, if it was somebody.
We are not getting a retest. He just said buy stocks now. Oh no. He said rocket ship. No, please come back.
You know, Senator Schumer's become a Palestinian. I don't know when they're gonna give him the ceremony, whatever the ceremony.
Yo, son, did he just use Palestinian as a pejorative?
So,
nah, son, nah, chat. Nah, chat. That's out of bounds, chat. Chat, was that out of bounds? You can't use Palestinian as a diss.
Even more.
What the fuck was that?
We'll have so much. It's the biggest tax cut in history. It's going to make our country zoom. It's going to be.
Nah, chat. Did he just call Chuck Schumer a Palestinian? Yo, chat. Bro, scale of 1 to 10. Was that out of bounds? He called Powell a brick wall. That was funny as shit. But calling Chuck Schumer a Palestinian is crazy.
The U.S. Surgeon General.
Dude, we might never see NASDAQ at these prices ever again. We might just go make all-time highs today.
Never finished her residency, and it's not a practicing physician. So can you explain why you picked her?
Well, she's because Bobby thought she was fantastic. She's she's a brilliant woman who went through Stanford, and as I understand it, she basically she wanted to be an academic as opposed to a surgeon. I think she graduated first in her class at Stanford, and Bobby really thought she was great. I don't know her. I listened to the recommendation of Bobby. I met her
smashed
yesterday and once before. She's a very outstanding person, a great academic, actually. So I think she'll be great.
I'm your nominee for U.S. Attorney in DC. Do you have a backup plan if this Senate?
Oh, I do, yeah, but he's a terrific person and he wasn't getting the support from people that I thought, he's done a very good job. Crime is down 25% in DC during his period of time. I'm very disappointed in that, but I have so many different things that I'm doing now with the trade. I'm one person, I can only lift that little phone so many times in a day. But we have somebody else that will be great. I just want to say Ed is unbelievable and hopefully we can bring him into whether it's DOJ or whatever in some capacity, because really outstanding. To me, it was disappointing, I'll be honest. I have to be straight. I was disappointed. A lot of people were disappointed. But that's the way it works sometimes, that's the way it works. And he wasn't rejected, but.
Yo, I'm ecstatic to see all this winning going on in the chats, man. Walter, good stuff. Omi, good stuff.
2 days is going to be great.
Oh, did you actually buy the tops? Bro, you actually bought.
Yeah, well, I think they're saying that just to
Yo,
try.
Roy, keep going down. Peep the most recent one.
They're not.
Yes, sir.
Oh
Stop palm
my
in the air, bro.
God. Bro, he bought the tops.
No, you're good. Yeah, click that mod form
Sometimes the country picks them
and
up.
then open it up. Yeah,
Picks it
yeah,
up.
Hudson.
People don't pick it up, okay? The people don't pick it up. And if sell any cars, and if Mattel, I don't know, I'm not so sure. They also said they're the only country I've heard. They said, well, we're going to go counter. We're going to try going someplace else. That's okay. Let him go, and we'll put 100% tariff on his toys, and he won't sell one toy in the United States.
Administration.
He said the Poland's
and
acting.
administer users.
All right, Omi, hold on.
Too long. The Ford people I know very well. What they're doing is negotiating with us by saying that. I put out a truth today, and it said that gas is down, gasoline is down, energy is down, groceries are down, eggs are down. I mean, eggs, thank you very much, but eggs are down. When I came in the first week, you guys hit me with eggs. I said, what the hell happened with eggs? Eggs were up like 170% and going up, and they said, don't order any for Easter. And we were thinking about ordering plastic eggs like everybody was doing. And Brooke did a fantastic job, agriculture. Brooke did a fantastic job. And we had hundreds of thousands of eggs out here on the lawn just 2 weeks ago at Easter. But you take a look at the cost, energy's down, even interest rates are down. Now, if the chairman of the Fed, Jerome, if he would lower interest rates like China did, like I think UK did, but like numerous other countries have done, it's like jet fuel, it'd be great. But he doesn't want to do it. I think he doesn't want to do it. Probably he's not in love with me.
He said too late Jerome Powell is a fool. He's calling him too late Jerome, who doesn't have a clue. He said, other than that, I like him very much. This is on Truth Social. He said, other than that, I like him very much. He said, all prices are down, groceries, eggs, virtually no inflation. That's the exact opposite of too late. Bruh, they're down because brother, respectfully, Trump is the one that dropped tariffs back to zero during COVID. Now we needed to, but then we're going to blame Biden for printing the $2 trillion when really it was the zero interest rate policy that got inflation to 6%. So we need to have interest rates high. All right, let's get through the tariff wars first. I don't know, bro. We stop pressuring Jerome to like fuck this up. We're actually on a very good track here, and high interest rates are going to stop prices from just ballooning back up with all the success that we're having.
I think that's right. It's sort of a crazy reason, but that's the way life is. Anybody in his position would be like jet fuel.
Negative 0.17, by the way. There's a 0.17 on both sides. The negative 0.17 extension just got hit. I think that this thing's going to continue to fly for today. If there's a retest, it'll be on a continuation model here. But don't get your hopes up. I'm just going to have to wait for the market to reset here.
But even without that, we're doing well. But remember this, I've watched you people reporting over the last few months that if we do this, prices are going to go through. Well,
I'm still stuck on the fact that he called Chuck Schumer a Palestinian as a pejorative, as a diss. That's just crazy. He knows that Hamas is the beef that's currently going on. The Palestinians are just, they're getting cooked. It's not really, you can't roast people while they're getting cooked, bro. That's, what the fuck was that?
No, I think it's been amazing, actually, and
I don't like
what
that.
that's good for, it gives the consumer more money and it gives them a better life because we just came out of the worst inflation, in my opinion, in the history of our country. They say 48 years. But Biden really screwed it up. He screwed up energy and he also he spent too much money. He was spending it on, green new scam. And that's like throwing the money. See that beautiful window behind? Take money, throw it right out that window. Because it's the same thing. He just
Fuck.
he spent $10 trillion. He wasted it.
He makes it hard to hate him. That Palestinian comment really is still rubbing me the wrong way. But like the whole roasting Joe Biden thing kind of gets him a couple points back.
Any identification, anything, just let him in. It's very, very sad. Well, we'll do one or two more. Go ahead. Who are you with?
I'm with the Daily Telegraph. You know me from
I do.
how concerned are you about the UK's reliance on China? Chinese money in the money markets, Chinese exports.
We're not concerned.
Is that something that came up in discussions?
I'm not concerned about anything. If I was, I wouldn't even be here right now.
Eesh.
If I was concerned about anything, and it wouldn't be that, but I wouldn't be
Eesh.
here right now. No, we're not concerned. We're gonna have, I believe, a very good relationship with China and a fair relationship, and it'll get bigger and it'll grow. It'll grow. As an example, if they open up the country, that'll be the best thing China ever did for itself. They don't know that yet because, it's been a different system, but that'll be the greatest thing that ever happened to China. The people will be happier. They'll buy for less. They'll see things that they never saw before and they'll be buying them. And it'll really create great long-term peace.
And if I could ask one of the agriculture secretary, actually, there's a lot of concern about chlorinated chicken, the import of hormone treated beef. Has that question been addressed, resolved in these talks, or is that something for the continuing negotiations?
Well, James.
I would just say that it's very clear, and we have in the heads of terms that we are going to discuss all of these types of issues, and obviously the importing country, whether it's us or them, you got to follow the rules on those types of things. But our point is the rules need to make sure that they are based on science, and that's our expectation. We know the UK believes that too, so we want to come to an accommodation. We want the consumers in each country to be able to choose what they want and give them the information that they need.
Okay. We have an incredible EPA led by Administrator Zeldin that is on this. So the talks continue, but we are very, very confident in our products and what the president has done to open up the markets is unprecedented for these farmers here in America.
As they watched this, we saw the stock market decline sharply after Liberation Day. It's rallied back.
Well, now it's going to really rally because, don't forget, they said this is all a pipe dream. And this was a tough one. Somebody would say, well, this is easy. This is much tougher, I think, than any other deal because they've been at it for so many years, decades, trying to make this deal. And it's very conclusive and it's a great deal. And it's a very big deal, actually. And no, this is just the beginning. We're going to be having conferences or at some point we won't have, we'll just put out a statement that we just signed this country, that country. And after a number of these are done, nobody has enough people to do it. We're just going to put out X country is going to pay this. And if they open up, they're going to do this and that. And they're going to be open up. Everybody wants to be here. I say this is where they want to be shopping. They want to shop in this country because we have the consumer. And we have the consumer like nobody else. And
told you guys this yesterday on the webinar. The American consumer is the backbone of the global economy.
we really saved it from going bad. Yeah, please.
Can I ask you about the air traffic control issue? Are you looking at getting new software?
I'm glad you asked me about it because I'm just going to be talking to now the heads of the airlines and everything else. So I was all set before we had the rigged election to give out a brand new gorgeous system to one company that was going to do the whole thing, one of the best companies in the world that you know very well. There are 3 or 4 of them that do it. And when they took over, Buttigieg, who has no clue, drives to work on his bicycle with his, no fairness, with his husband on the back, which is a nice, loving relationship. But,
Yo, son, this man Trump is fucking hilarious. Yo,
he
son.
didn't have a clue. This guy didn't have a clue.
Yo, he said, he rides to work on his bicycle and with all fairness, with his husband on the back. Yo, son.
And he's actually a contender for
Oh,
president with him and Crockett.
All
You
right,
can
vote him in a third term.
have that party. But he didn't know what he was doing. And he took what they call dry systems where you have wires in the earth, buried in the earth or whatever. And then you have the open air systems where you have satellites, and you can't mesh them. Anybody would know that if you went through about 2 months of study in school, if you studied that kind of thing. And he did. They spent tens of billions of dollars trying to take old, broken equipment and merging it into existing new equipment with brand new equipment. It's one of the greatest.
I'm not the biggest fan of the continuation trades this high up in the range, but I do see this happen. If the market's going to continue bullish, I see a higher right shoulder, like an inverted head and shoulders thing, but higher right shoulder. You would draw your fib, just for members here. You would go from the top to the bottom. You would find that 70 to 80% range, which is right here. And then you would try to buy as low in that range as possible for the continuation. If we're lucky enough to get an 80A6 retest, yeah, that ain't happening. He said rocket ship and he said buy stocks. All right, and this is Trump.
To buy, which is brand new system. The helicopter that crashed into the plane at 400 feet, it shouldn't have been. What would have happened is all sorts of bells and sirens would have been going off 3 minutes before that accident happened, if you had the right equipment, but they didn't. And the new equipment is unbelievable what it does. You can have, you don't even, well, I was going to say something, but you always, in my opinion, you always need pilots. I want pilots, but you wouldn't even have to have pilots. This system is so incredible what they can do, but we have a system that's obsolete. And what they did is the worst. They tried to combine the really old broken stuff with the new stuff, and you can't combine it, and anybody should have known. So Biden, do you think Biden figured this out? I don't think so, fellas. Do you think he has any clue? Here's the story. To bid very soon. Brand new state-of-the-art system that will cover the entire world. I'll give you an example. When my pilot, now I have military pilots, but prior to that, I have very good pilots, great pilots. They would land, and I won't tell you which country, but they would use the system of another country. They wouldn't even use the system of the United States. So if I'm landing in New York or Florida or Tennessee, they're using a system from another country. I said, why is that? And they were, they're not into business, but they're just saying, our system doesn't work, sir. And I said, boy, that's pretty sad. But we were all set to give it out to, look, you have a Raytheon and you have different companies like that, numerous companies. And you have companies that would do it, like an IBM, as an example. And you give out one deal, one contract. They gave out hundreds of contractors. They had diggers. They had non-diggers. They had people that focused on satellites. They had hundreds of different contracts. One contract where one guy is controlling everything. You need a trench, then they dig a trench. But if you don't dig the trench, they don't blame you. What happens is you don't dig it, then they say, we want a cost overrun. Now, we have it all set, and we're going to be doing it. We would have done it, except that the election took a little strange turn.
I hope people understand. He's been talking the exact same for since he ran for president. But now we've gotten so used to it. We understand him now. I got every single thing he just said. He said, sometimes they want you to do it, but you don't do it. And so they don't want you to do it. And now you see what happened. It's like, he didn't say anything, but I got it because I understand the drilling deals and some of the internal contracts. It takes context. I think he just assumes that everybody's on the same page and everyone knows what he's talking about because he's paying attention to popular issues. But most of us just trying to get to the next meal. Most of you guys are at work sitting there looking at your watch, asking when lunchtime is. So he's got to be specific, but that's why he's got Lutnick and Vance and some of the other folks on his team that are going to pick up the slack and actually put words to these ideas.
But the second one didn't. That was too big to rig. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, that has concluded. Absolutely phenomenal. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you guys what's going to happen from here. We're going to check. I'm going to actually do this while we're on the call. I'm going to open up Google or whatever your favorite, whatever your platform is. And we're going to look up some of the news headlines right after this press conference. There was a lot of shit said. Now, depending on the agenda of the day, that's what's going to be reflected. So a lot of folks, obviously the Israel and Gaza situation currently is one of the hottest topics. I think we're going to see the Chuck Schumer, but the thing is, the media doesn't really go after stuff like that. I'm going to keep myself out of trouble. That's all I'm going to say. What else did he say? He called, financial news, Jerome Powell being slow or too slow or whatever it is. That's going to be a fucking running headline, even though it's irrelevant. Everybody knows, and just to kind of put some context on that point, since I guess is my job here, the Fed overcorrects, not as a mistake, but as just a function of their operation. When they started cutting rates, they cut rates and left them cut for way too long. Because the worst thing you want to do is, for example, like I always relate this to medicine. Jerome Powell's the doctor, and then the economy is like a really sick patient. And so imagine this is not even like a bacterial infection. This has to be like Ebola, for fuck's sake. Now you're giving somebody the cure for Ebola, right? Remember Ebola, right? Ebola, the reaction, like what we got for COVID, we should have had for Ebola, for fuck's sake. Because Ebola, like apparently you just shit out all your organs or something like that. It's the most horrific death of all time. That's the economy today with the inflation crisis we had. So when you're administering medicine, the question is it better to stop early on the antibiotic cycle or to go a little bit too long? There's risks on both sides. You go a little bit too long, you've killed off all the healthy bacteria in your body, and now you have new problems to deal with because now you're more susceptible to bacterial infections, or you're more susceptible to viral infections because your immune system is suppressed. You're more susceptible to fungal infections, which are lethal. And so there's risks to going way too long with the antibiotics. Now, on the flip side, let's say you stop too soon. Your doctor always tells you don't stop your antibiotic cycle until the last day. Make sure you take all of them, because that is an even bigger risk, because you've kind of set your body on a certain motion of suppressing your immune system and sort of like having this antibacterial response. And then you just cut it off halfway through. And so your body thinks that it's done. Maybe your immune system takes a break, and then it comes back and resurges way worse. And then antibiotics are less effective the second time. And so if they just start dropping interest rates, then the next time some shit happens, interest rates will not be as effective of a tool. Okay, that's one side of going too early. Now, staying too long, what happens? So then what happens with, my bad, my headphones disconnected to my phone. What happens if we keep interest rates high for too long? Now there's going to be a little bit of a slowdown in the economy, but inflation goes down. So look, right now there's a lot of activity and money flooding back into the system. But it hasn't gotten any easier for us to get a new car or a new house, to go get business loans, because the interest rates are still high. So things are still kind of in a neutral place, except productivity, real jobs and real stuff getting made, like real tangible stuff, is growing. And so the GDP of the country is starting to grow. There's activity, there's liquidity. But the access to money hasn't changed. And so inflation is at the same level. It's going to be, maybe prices will go up a little bit on iPhones and some of the other manufactured stuff that we're tariffing through China. But overall, everything is stable. Now, if Jerome Powell cuts interest rates, prices are going to balloon to the upside. Why? Because if everyone can get money now, it's not the consumers that are going out and getting personal loans. You might get personal loans for auto loans, and for maybe you might refinance your mortgage. You might actually go get a new house, sell your house and get a new house. A lot of folks are just staying in their current house because you have a 3% interest rate that you locked in back in 2018 or 2017. And now, in order for you to go get a new house and get a loan from the bank, it's 8%. So you're like, I'm not doing that right now. I'll just stay in this house for a few more years. Home sales have been down. People moving has been down. It's been this whole thing. So interest rates start coming down. What happens? Houses start getting sold on the market. What happens is more people are able to go get loans. And so if everybody can go get a house now, the price of the house goes up. House prices go up when interest rates go down. All prices go up when interest rates go down. So why would we just rush back into an environment where we could potentially have inflation soar back when we're doing great? The interest rates are high, but egg prices are down. We saw the core goods that we did this whole thing last week on the live stream. We did milk, coffee, cheese, autos, All prices are down. Oil prices are down. Egg prices are down 80%. So what the hell do we need to cut rates for? Besides, a lot of his friends are like, yo, get Jerome to cut rates because it's going to boost everything. Now, cutting rates in the short term makes everybody happy. And I think they should save that for when there's some bullshit going on. If a specific trading partner gives us trouble and we have an adverse reaction from that, something the Trump administration really doesn't expect, that will be a pretty good time to cut 25 basis points. Calm everybody down. Oh, we're headed in the right direction. I'm going to buy a house next year, right? In order to stop the panic. It's going to make corporations way more excited. The stock market will boom. And so I think they should save that ammo. Don't just sit there and spend it when it doesn't really, the environment doesn't really demand that. Okay. So that's what's going to happen. That's what they're going to talk about on the news. They're going to be salacious about it. The guy from fucking, what's it called? I don't know what the hell I just watched, to be honest. Howard Lutnick got up there and just did a whole presentation like he was trying out for fucking Hamilton, the White House version. And then we had this lady that was dressed like she was about to give the Gettysburg Address. She was going to sign, what's the deal they signed in Richmond? Even now, see, you people made me forget my Civil War references, damn it. There was Bull Run, Gettysburg. What's the other one? I don't know. I'm going to stop at Stonewall Jackson because that one was hilarious. Jefferson Davis, who's the president of the Confederacy. I don't know. She was dressed like that. She was dressed like Jefferson Davis's wife. That's what she was dressed at. She said like 3 words about beef. Donald Trump was like, who are you? He said, hold on. Me and the guy from Austin Powers are chopping it up. Then we had the Austin Powers villain talking about some, would you like to buy a Rolls Royce? And Trump is like, I've had a lot of them over the years, but said, look me, said, Google me. Now, in terms of the charts, lost the first trade. I was in profits. I cut partial profits. I made about $300. And then it came down and hit stop loss. I lost 400. So I'm down $100 on all the accounts today. I'm going to go cry myself a river. Now, I was waiting for the second entry, as we all were. Tried to draw my zones as accurately as I could from the body to the wick, but I should have done a better job of lining up the fibs as I did when I readjusted it, lining up the fibs with the price action to make sure that price is respecting the sequence. The way I had it drawn before, it was a decent amount of touches, but it wasn't to the body of these candles. And that one just hurt. Today just hurt because but this is trading, people. You can do everything right and still miss a trade or lose a trade. It's all about following the plan. Because today I followed the plan and didn't chase it, right? Some of you guys might have broken your rules and then chased it or whatever. The next time this happens, you're going to be thinking to yourself, because you've just been rewarded for a bad behavior. So you're going to think to yourself, it worked last time, it's going to work this time. 8 times out of 10, buying it at the top is going to result in you buying up here and then the market retracing back on you. But all you'll remember is the one time where it worked and you just bought and it just went straight to profits halfway up the range. So following the rules is my priority. Once the market closes, I'll be more proud of myself for sticking to my rules and waiting for that proper entry rather than priding myself on just simply winning. Don't get me wrong. Making $5 grand today would have been fun too. But hey, potatoes, right? Hit like and subscribe, turn on your notifications. Make sure to subscribe to our email list. We're sending out a morning report every morning of the top news events, and I'll cover those on some of the live streams that we do. So make sure to join our subscriber list. It's free, it takes 2 seconds. You can just get on our website. There's a subscribe at the very, very bottom. There's like a join our newsletter. You click that, and now you're going to get the morning report every single morning. All right? And then you're going to be informed. And so all these goofy goobers are in your other group chats talking about is it up? Is it down? The ISM manufacturing report is dropping today, right? When they're talking about those folders, the yellow folders and shit, we're going to be like, oh, Trump put on Truth Social that you're cooked. And that's what you should be paying attention to today, people. Howard Lutnick called Jerome Powell a Keebler elf. And that's the news of the day. That's what's going to make NASDAQ break the highs. He said it, not me. I would never call Jerome Powell a Keebler elf. That's disrespectful. All right? So long story short, following the rules, that's the way to go. Make sure to join our subscriber list. Every Wednesday, we do a free intro to NASDAQ webinar, which we did last night. If you showed up, you're welcome, because that was one of the most fire webinars we've ever done. And then we have our NASDAQ masterclass to learn this strategy and to learn how to identify these entries for yourself so you can take the guesswork out of your trading and finally get to the point where you're just like, all right, how much more thousands am I going to waste not knowing a strategy? How many more years am I going to waste not having a consistent system? Pay the $400, save yourself the thousands. It's 4 days, not 4 years. All right. So we'll see you guys on there. Hit like, subscribe, and happy and safe trading, people. Peace. All right. I just killed it on USD JPY. Dude, I had roast beef for lunch